So I decided to start another succulent series. It will be 5 days of succulents. So you will see me choose a plant and plant that succulent into my garden. And the plant that I have chosen is Trichodiadema Densum. And this is also known as a miniature desert rose. Now this plant looks like a cactus, but it is not. In fact, it is in the, if I can pronounce this correctly, Azoaceae family, which is in the ice plant family. And this family of plants are adapted to arid and semi-arid environments. Now, if you look at the top of this plant, you can see there are spine-like white bristles on the top, which are in the shape of a star. Now, I think the common name should be Starry Night after Vincent van Gogh's painting, but anyway, we will call it a miniature desert rose, or preferably by its scientific name, which I may not be pronouncing correctly, Trichodiadema densum. Okay, so now I'm going to take a look at one of my succulent gardens to try and decide where to plant this. And I'm thinking this might not be a good spot. This is my aeonium section, and what you were looking at before was my aloe section. Now here are my cacti and euphorbia section. This might be a good spot to put the trichodiadema in. And then way down here at the end, I have some miscellaneous succulents and some succulents that like a little bit more shade, and it protects them from the heat. All right, I've chosen the spot and I decided to go ahead and plant it here next to this Opuntia microdacis, which is also known as bunny ears, and the one that I have is in the monstrose form. But this is a section where I have cacti and Forbius. Okay, let me give you a little bit of more information about this plant. It is a small, compact, slow-growing succulent, and it flowers in the late winter. Now, the flowers of this plant open in the morning and they will close in the afternoon. And they are a purple, pinkish color with a yellow center, and they kind of resemble daisies. Now, Trichodiadema densum is native to South Africa, and it's hardy in USDA zones 9B through 10B. And as I mentioned before, this plant is adapted to arid and semi-arid environments. So that tells you right off the bat, it is not going to like wet soil or high humidity. Also, the maximum height on this plant is 3 to 5 inches, and it is mat forming, and it will grow horizontally in all directions. What I'm about to show you here is one of the tuberous roots that this plant has, and you can propagate it through stem cuttings or by dividing those tuberous roots. And this plant, the Trichodiadema densum, can be pruned to encourage new growth, so it will spread out. You will also notice that I did add some soil amendment. It's just cacti and succulent soil. Actually, it's for citrus and palms and cactus. So I want to ensure that this plant does have good drainage. Now, we did recently have a pretty good rain, which was our first rain of the season, and it's late in the year, so it was really welcome, but my soil is wet, so I wanted to put a little more bit more dry soil around the plant just to make sure it is not overly wet to start off with. I also need to mention that this succulent needs bright light, good drainage, and infrequent watering. You only water when the soil is dry. And if in doubt, just push the rock aside and stick your finger in the soil, or you can push the rock aside and use a moisture meter. I have used that on several plants when I'm really not quite sure, and I know that one of my plants is really sensitive to overwatering. I want to be really careful to make darn sure it's ready for water and not too wet. All right, that is it for now. Check back with me tomorrow to see what plant I am going to choose next to plant in my garden. It might be in this section or in one of my other gardens. And I want to thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.